All right, just a few things before we begin. When you're not speaking, you would be asked to keep your mic on mute. And if there is any other technical issue that you have during the session, you can always message with Sana. She's here. And because then it wouldn't be clear if all the mics are open and the friction and disturbance might affect the show. So, and I hope I'm clear, loud and clear to everyone. I hope I'm audible.
Yes.
Great. So we begin in exactly 2 minutes. All right. Good morning and assalamu alaikum. I am Nida Ansari, representing the Free School PAF chapter. And my co-host for today is our dear student Haika Amir.
The City School PAF chapter is proud to launch its first live broadcast show, PAFians, and we're honored to be a part of it. As everyone is already aware about the sudden outburst of this pandemic and how it has affected human lives from day to day, therefore, in this show, we will discuss how to deal with this pandemic constructively.
Today we have a very extraordinary and diverse group of guests with us. Let us begin the introductions with Mr. Ahmed Saya, whose name precedes him. He has been awarded the world's most dedicated teacher by Cambridge Examinations and International, and is also the co-founder of the Brit School, which is a school for the underprivileged children. Furthermore, he is a teacher trainer for British Council, Cascade Pakistan, and some other schools as well. He has acted as a life coach, a mentor, and has also conducted motivational sessions at Plums, IBA, Beria, Established, IOBM, NUST, Textile Institute of Pakistan, FAST, the Karachi University, and some other universities of Pakistan. He is currently a faculty member of schools including Cedar, Nexer, Beacon House, and Alpha. He is also a former teacher of the PAF chapter in St. Pat's. We also have with us today Ms. Namira Khatak, who has been and actually is an energetic and cooperative parent with us for years now. Thank you for taking out the time, Mrs. Khatak.
We have also been joined by Shazib Shamsi, who is a chapter alumna and is currently studying in IPA. He was a very enthusiastic and renowned social worker and public speaker who has attained several achievements. And last but not the least, we have Ms. Seema Irfan, our very own principal. Ms. Seema is in education. She has also worked as assistant, a senior mistress, a head mistress, editor in charge, and as vice principal. She has attained the position of a master trainer, a principal, assistant regional director, and a regional director. Moreover, she is a certified trainer from the University of Strathclyde, UK. She launched PF chapter and helped acquire IFE certification for the school back in 2003. It is a privilege to add that she has been associated with the Free School PAF chapter for the past 23 years, and we are honored to welcome her back to chapter. Now, Ms. Nida, let me ask you a question. How many times have you logged into your social media or turned on the television and realized that every single person is talking solely about the COVID-19 pandemic?
Honestly, countless times.
Exactly. People continue to share their experiences and pose questions. However, this only serves to prove how much everyone is bewildered and has been affected by this pandemic. We hope that this talk show will help bring a tiny beacon of positivity in these uncertain times.
Okay, all the viewers are encouraged to participate by writing in their comments, and if they'd like, they can and share this event as well.
Now, proceeding on to the question answer session, I would like to direct the first question at Sir Messiah. May I ask you to share with us your opinions on this viral outbreak and where do you think Pakistan is going with it?
It's a sad situation for everyone because the pandemic has created a life, everyone's life in a standstill. And similarly, Pakistan is suffering from this pandemic, and it seems as if there is no ray of hope. But that's not true. With every problem, there is an opportunity. And what we need to realize as Pakistanis is what is the opportunity in these times of pandemic? What are the things for students, teachers, parents, and as a nation as a whole that we can identify, we can find out, and how we can improve on ourselves with the current situation that is being prevailing. There were lots of things that we never thought of before, but with the pandemic, automatically things have started changing. The world has started changing, and we have started adopting those methodologies, even in teaching and studying, that we never thought we would ever use. For example, we never thought that we'll shift to remote classes or virtual classes so soon. But what we had in pipeline for next 5 years maybe had to be implemented in 5 days time or maybe a week's time, because we realized that this is the new normal. So now we have to realize that we need to live with it. And if we need to live with it, we have to make sure that we make the best out of it.
Thank you very much for your precious opinion. Ms. Namira, may I ask your opinion on this?
As a parent of three children of different age brackets, the response, the behavior is somewhat a combination of varied and similar reactions. My eldest, the one who is 15, was a bit anxious, panicked, only because her exams got postponed. The 10-year-old and the 7-year-old were exhilarated because it's vacation time. So they are like, you see, it's a combination. But I know this is like, I know families who have kids who were like, they were who were socially anxious kids, and they have improved with less stimulation and more family time. So in the longer run, however, with the lack of routine, schooling, and social life, this will lead to lack of motivation and commitment.
All right, thank you very much. And what is your opinion on this as someone from the younger generation, Shazib?
First of all, thank you for this brilliant opportunity for letting me speak on this very important issue. Well, I believe that this very pandemic is not going anywhere, and we will eventually evolve out of it. And I'm hoping that we see some sort of development on the medical science end, and we end up having a medication of it. And inshallah, there will be something like this. But as I said, uh, we will eventually have to evolve out of it. And when it comes to the effect it has on us, it's quite devastating, because we are socially, mentally, psychologically locked up in our houses. We cannot step out for stuff that is non-essential, that we used to do in normal times. And the most interesting and the funny thing about this is that I used not to see some people like when times were normal, and now I have this very strange urge to meet those same people. So yes, I'm just joking about it. No one should do that. We have to stay at home. We have to stay safe. Over to you.
That's absolutely relatable. I can vouch for it. What would you like to add to that? What do you believe is the school's point of view in this entire situation, Ms. Seema?
We were simply not prepared for its onslaught. The start and spread has been beyond expectation, and consequently, economic instability and the educational changes have affected us all. This crisis has taught us to live life on day-to-day basis, simply going about the basic needs and tasks. The scale of this change requires drastic adjustments in our lifestyle. As our alumni and MSI and our mom, they also said that this pandemic is going to stay. There are different views of researchers, and they talk about a second wave, or etc. etc. So each individual is different. We all respond differently. We all need to often pause and reflect and realign and strengthen our coping mechanisms to deal with this uncertainty. Our students, the native generation, will definitely shape their identity and worldview during this period. They will emerge smarter, brighter thinkers, and their skills of dealing with such uncertainties will definitely improve. But I'm very hopeful. I'm sure, inshallah, good will emerge in the world after the pandemic.
Thank you all for your ideas, and absolutely, all of those ideas they actually stand out, and we agree with them. No doubt, these are testing times for all of us, but we need to face this situation with patience and resilience, and as we are a really strong nation, and I believe personally that yes, we can make it. Now, moving on to our second question: how do you believe the quarantine can be used in a productive manner? Mr. Saya, what would you like to add to it?
Voice.
As far as quarantine is concerned, I think that students should start the new ideas, they should work on new methodologies, they should explore themselves, they should identify their potential, and they should realize what were the things that they were not applying initially. Because everyone has their own ideal characteristics and they are not exposed to that. We try to follow what we see is good, and we try to follow the peers, the teachers. We try to do what we think is generally accepted right practices, without realizing what are our own strengths, our own weaknesses, our inclinations, our aptitudes. So this quarantine is a time of self-exploratory process. One should identify what he or she is good at, what he or she has been missing in life that they did not dare to do just because they were afraid of the fact of what people will be telling them, or how people will be comparing them to others. But this quarantine time, or this isolation time, has given this opportunity to everyone that they can find out more about themselves. They can spend this time uh, in search of their own self. And once they will identify what they are capable of, it will be good not only for them, but for the entire nation, because we will be trying to explore our own hidden self. What unfortunately happens is we think that since it's quarantine and since we are all alone and in isolation, we, instead of utilizing the time in our best interest, we try to indulge into time wasted activities. Most of the people are either sleeping too much, or are eating too much, or are doing things that they those things that show as if they are not so happy, they are depressed. But at the same time, what can be done is, now this is the time and the opportunity to everything has become technologically advanced, and with advent of COVID-19, what has happened is majority of the courses across the globe have become have introduced free courses, free 90-day trial versions, and students, teachers, and everyone can use those 90-day free trial versions to identify and explore those areas that they were always interested in. For example, if a student is interested in literature or journalism, but he or she was studying something else, can now explore those opportunities, because virtual classes are everywhere. and all those opportunities can easily be explored.
Thank you, Mrs. Saya. Mrs. Pathak, what would you like to add to this?
Quarantine can be used to bring out many positive aspects. Firstly and foremostly, keep your trust level high towards the Almighty and mold your lives on a different pattern. Learn to be flexible, and if you don't want to be depressed, stop watching the news channels. uh, Work out, exercise, eat healthy, indulge in games like golf because they have a 0% or like 1% of infection danger fear attached to it. Do upcycling projects. I don't like the word recycle, so I call it upcycle. Read, improve your reading skills, your communication skills because students need it all the time. Universities across the globe are offering courses free of cost. Get yourself enrolled. Um, get internships. It's fruitful for your college admissions.
Thank you, Mrs. Khattak. Absolutely. What you said makes a lot of sense to us. What do you think, Shazay? As a student, how do you think you can be using this time in a more productive manner?
Well, there is a very important thing that first we need to realize and understand, and that is staying healthy and survival should be our topmost priority. Other things come after that. So we need to take every measure that is possible on our end to stay safe. And then there is a question that we need answering. Uh, there is a difference, or we need to know the difference between what is privilege and someone who is not privileged enough to do all the things we suggest quite easily. So yes, for someone like me, it's very easy to enroll in these courses available free online. My university is also providing me these. So yes, I do that, and it's a very good thing. But we need to empathize. No, we can't empathize, but we need to sympathize with those who do not have this opportunity, and that's all we can do. I have peers, I have colleagues who do not belong from these good areas originally. They come from Thar, they come from other parts of Sindh where they do not have the internet, the access to internet. For them, taking an online class is a very tough job. So I think we need to understand, first of all, understand that we are privileged enough to do so. And yes, if someone is able to do all of this stuff, it's very good for us. You can take online courses, you can work out, you can obviously do a lot of stuff.
Thank you, Shazib. Absolutely. We are actually quite privileged here. Ms. Seema, how would you like to share your standpoint on this?
Well, we do not have much control on the present state of affairs. Understandably, staying at home for an indefinite period of time is quite demanding. However, acceptance of the fact and making the most of it will certainly help. I very strongly feel that self regulation is the first step to grasp the paradigm shift. Our speakers have panelists have really shared very good points. I urge students to maintain a routine. Routine is critically important, and I like the word. I like the use of word survival. Yes, we need to look after ourselves. We need to stay healthy, and we need to survive and emerge unscathed from this time. So, cherish family time, reflect, focus on becoming self-directed learners. School has started online classes. Make the most of it. Connect with your friends and relatives. Indulge in hobbies. It's very important. Awaken your natural curiosity. Discover your inner self and talents. You're not going to get this kind of time in future. Inshallah, after we are done with this pandemic and when the actual normalcy returns, we will never find this time for many, many years to come. And most importantly, be grateful. We are safe. We have a roof on our heads. We have food on our table. Be grateful. This time shall pass soon, inshallah.
Thank you all very much. Your answers definitely prove the amount of potential there still is for the privileged like us in this time of quarantine. And also, it also proves exactly where we are going wrong. So, my third question, directed at Sir Ahmed Saya again, is what do you believe are the emotional, intellectual, and physical impacts of this quarantine on teenagers?
Emotionally, majority of the students are depressed, but that is not true for all the students. It depends on the age group they belong to. The students who have missed out on their exams because exams did not take place, there are two categories of students. One who are extremely happy that exams got cancelled and they got a free ride. At the same time, there are students who are very demotivated because they thought that they can perform extremely well, and unfortunately, they did not got the opportunity to prove themselves. So emotionally, some students are extremely unhappy, and some students are extremely happy. Psychologically they are down, they are not so happy because they are confined to their homes. They are not involved in any activities that they are usually involved in. For example, the students or the children who like playing out, they like playing football, cricket, they are all confined to their homes and unfortunately are not getting the opportunity for the physical exercises that they do. The gyms are closed, and they are not able to go out, hang around with their friends. Social distancing has also disconnected them socially, and this is one of the very bad parts of this quarantine season. But at the same time, the students have come up with an alternative solution also. They have virtual meetings are taking place, Zoom meetings are taking place, and people are connecting with those friends they were not connected with since past few years, and now they are having a live online meeting session with them. So somewhat stability is there. At the same time, when it comes to their intellectual abilities, so all those who are taking advantage of all the free material that is available online, they are improving intellectually. But at the same time, the students who are not able to get those opportunities, as Shazeb very rightly pointed out, that there are people who belong to underprivileged areas or people who belong to not so remote areas, and they do not have access to internet, and they do not have access to all those facilities that people in urban areas do have. And unfortunately, when such students, despite the fact there are so many things available, they are not able to access those resources just because of inavailability or unavailability of the basic necessities. So Wi-Fi, internet, computers or gadgets have become the need of the time. So all those who have access to it are somewhat connected. Those who do not have access to it are not so connected. On the flip side, we also realize that people are now getting time to spend with their families. Those people who are busy have suddenly come to a standstill, to a full stop, and they have realized that the people who are very close to them, who live in their own house, they had distanced away from them. But now this quarantine has given them this opportunity that they can reconcile with their families, they can reconcile with their loved ones, they can reconcile with the people who live in their own house, and they can talk to them, they can connect with them, they can play indoor games with them. So I think at the same time, family bondings are also improving, and socially, those things that were disconnected are now some way or the other connecting themselves. So I think that's from my side.
Yes, I totally agree with you. So, what is your notion on this? On what impacts us teenagers the most, Shazib?
Well, I believe and I stress upon this a lot of times that it's not easy for anyone, not for students, not for teachers, not for anyone. We are depressed, and the depression is actually of varying levels, and it's something that cannot be spotted by face very easily. We are absolutely worried about our future because there is a gap. There is this whole 4 month gap that has happened uh, so far. So yep, these are quite troubling times. And one more thing that Sir Saya pointed out, it was amazing, and I actually talk about it a lot. That we get time to we are getting time to reconcile with our family members and those who live in our homes, even our tenants or our neighbors. So it's good to spend time with them. But at the same time, we're also disturbed by the fact that, for example, I do not provide for my family, and there are a lot of teenagers who don't. Most of the teenagers don't. That is my opinion. And I see my father going out, and he is compelled to go out. He can't stay at home. Um, there are other people who have been working even when the lockdown was enforced. Their offices were not closed, so it worried me a lot that my father is working out. Yes, he is taking precautionary measures. He's using masks and he's carrying sanitizers. He's wearing gloves, but still at the same time, I'm worried a lot. My family members are worried about him, and similarly, this is the situation of everyone, every household in the world. So, yep, I cannot agree more with Sir Saya. Okay, that is indeed quite very troubling for us.
Right. And may I know your thoughts on this as a parent, Miss Namira?
Yeah. It has brought about anxiety, which is not good at this age because it leads to frustrations, aggressions, panic attacks, crankiness at time. This lockdown has brought both sides, the worst and the best, but obviously it varies from child to child and to teenager. Some have really learnt it the best. We as a family, we like to go to a lot of charity drives. We tried engaging our daughter who is a teenager. So it was the best thing to do so. She was enthralled. She was really excited, and it's very hot these days, but we've been taking her out to these ration drives every Sunday. And so, as I said, she's coping well now. But those who are not coping well, the reason is that the exams got postponed. Exams kind of hold future for a student. As a child, when I was young and my exams were approaching, I often used to pray, may the war begin, so that the exam would postpone. And my grandmother, she used to shudder in horror. And since my great grandfather and my grandfather had been to the war, one to the World War and other to the Indo-Pak, so she used to tell me that no war can stop the exams would still happen. And this pandemic, it achieved the impossible. It postponed or cancelled the exams. So this virus has achieved something which is bigger than the war itself, the impact. So the impact is really very frightening. And for the students, it's like a two-headed monster. A disease that the vaccine has not come out yet, and the fear of the unknown. Thank you.
Right. I absolutely agree with you. And what would you like to add to this from the school's point of view, Ms. Tima?
Well, social distancing so far is the only known measure to combat the pandemic, and it is stressful. Teens are indeed missing the best moments in their lives. For example, social and sports events, daily interactions with friends and peers. And this may lead to anxiety or loneliness. Best approach is to identify and process feelings. Prepare a list of best possible encounters that will work for every individual. Find solace in the fact that the entire world is going through the same phenomenon. We are not alone. Talk to a family member or friend you trust. Create and engage in meaningful conversations. And I repeat again, daily sense of purpose and routine will surely help. And as Ms. Namira just said, it was so heartwarming to know that she encourages and she's creating those windows for her children to participate in charity drives. Looking at, I
What can you see, Ms.
the people
Purnima?
speaking in the background. Can you please mute your mic?
Say it. Sorry.
Please mute your mic. Thank you. So, looking at underprivileged people, looking at people who are suffering will help you feel better, will make you more aware, will bring out the best in you. And it is your responsibility to protect your physical, mental, and emotional health, as nothing is more important than your well being. Students, let's say O level and above, are grown up individuals, and I'm sure they have a lot of insight in their personal self. And it is time to rediscover, it is time to work out formulas that are going to help them out all through. So be responsible, stay safe, and look after your holistic health, because tomorrow is going to be tougher than today.
Right. Thank you, Miss Seema. Yes, these are tough times, and the key is actually staying positive, bonding with your family, and using this time more productively. Our last and most important question is, how do you believe you have evolved as a person throughout this pandemic? Sir Saya, would you like to add to it?
There has been a big change. I always preferred teaching using the chalk and talk style, and suddenly I find myself tech savvy because technology is the key to all teachings now. So I had to ensure that I teach online, and I started different platforms for teaching. I taught on Zoom, I taught on Microsoft Teams, I have taught on Google Meets, I have used GoToWebinar. I mean, you name the app, and some or the other app has been used by me, because it was a trial and error for me also. Because I wanted to ensure that the students get the best out of this. They should not feel that they were left alone. They should have our guidance whatsoever in every step. And it has evolved me on two fronts. Technologically, I have become a bit more advanced than I was, and at the same time, it has given me a new vision, a broader vision. Uh, uh, I always, I was always planning that. I realized that in Pakistan there are almost 2.5 to 3 million students out of schools, who are in the school going age but are out of schools because either they cannot afford education, or because for them education has no importance. But of these, almost half the number have access to smartphones. So now this is time that we realize that cell phones or any kind of gadget or a technological device is where the schools can be. So if a person cannot afford to go to school, he or she can have school, a virtual school, in their own cell phones, and they can have all the facilities available on the fingertips. So now it is a time changing experience. Even government has taken measures, and you must all have seen that the government introduced this tele school, which I think is a very good initiative, because everyone who cannot go to school can study at home. And when they can study at home, they can study remotely, they can study at their own place, at their own pace, then nothing is better than that. So I think it, we have evolved not only technologically, we have also evolved emotionally. We have started connecting with people we were not able to connect with. It has also taught us that life is very uncertain. Whichever speed you are running at, you realize that there is a stop to everything. And you can act as if you know everything, but there are things that you are not aware of. God is great, and God know, we plan, we plot, but he is the best of the planners, and he has given pandemic to us, not only as a problem, but also, as I said earlier, and I will reiterate, as an opportunity to look at things the way we were not looking at. There were things that we never realized could exist, and it is an opportunity for us to even realize that since life is uncertain, we should not leave things for future. I mean, at times we have some grief in our heart, we have some kind of things that we don't feel good about. It's time to clarify those issues. It's not time to hold things back, because you don't know when will be end of times. You don't know when you will be able to next talk to the person you loved but you could not share, or you had something against someone. Maybe it was just a misunderstanding and you did not clarify it, and it turned out to be a very bad situation. It's time to reconcile. It's time to go and realize that you don't know what will happen next. So why not prepare, and why not forgive and forget things that are not, that have left a bitter taste in our mouth? Why not have a bonding as strong as we had when people were friends and when things were normal? Why not have that kind of bonding again? So I think it's time to forgive, forget, move on, to clean our hearts, and to thank people around us and tell them that they matter, that they make a difference in our lives, and that they are important, because we don't know when we will get the opportunity to appreciate them again. We don't know when we will get the opportunity to talk to them again, to meet them again. So it's time that we should stop everything. We should start thinking about everyone who have made a difference in our lives. Let's send them a thank you note, and let's try and become stronger human beings, stronger individuals, and let's connect to God, to people, and to everyone who matters.
Thank you, Mr. Saya. Your point is actually quite, in depth, and it does allow us to identify that yes, we need to, relearn from what is happening now. Mrs. Khatak, how would you add to it?
Um, it has shaped me. My priorities, my needs are now well defined. I now exactly know what are the essentials, the basics. The coronavirus culture has taught the importance of connection, resilience, and adaptability. I can very gladly say that we all are blessed with a quality that is adaptable. We have adapted and we have become very innovative. And one of the basic differences between even animals can adapt, but the basic difference between animals and humans is that we humans can, or we can design our future, and we can create something for ourselves which the animals cannot. So personally, the lockdown gave me the time to reflect on my life and reprioritize my priorities, many things. So um, so it gave me the opportunity to hit pause for a while, which I would have never done under normal circumstances, and provided a much needed mental shift. I've emerged a much calmer, focused, and less stressed person as a result.
Thank you, Ms. Khatak. That was actually quite insightful. Yes, Shahzeb, from your perspective as a student, what would you like to add here?
Well, to say that I have evolved might be an overstatement, because, to be very honest, yes, there are online learning management systems. The teachers have put a lot of effort, and our institutions have also have gone beyond what they could do for aiding us. But to be very honest, I still am struggling like everyone else, like every student, especially. So, which is why I believe that to say that I have evolved would be an overstatement. And moreover, evolution as a person, I believe, rests in empathizing. Well, as humans, we cannot empathize. We can never empathize with what someone else is going through. But this whole pandemic, or this whole lockdown and quarantine situation, has helped us know and understand what our peers, what our fellow mates, what our parents, what our colleagues are going through. So yes, I can say this for sure, that as a person, as someone who can never empathize, or as someone who can empathize a very little less, I believe that I have grown and I have understood people more. So this has enabled me to spend my time pondering over what actually can be done to make things better around us. Yes, charity and social work is also a way which I try to see, but thinking about, pondering, and wondering over what actually might bring about a very great social change is something that I also devote my time to.
Thank you, Shazib. Ms. Seema, how would you like to wrap up this idea of how have you as a person or we as people have evolved?
Well, waiting for the crisis to end is overwhelming. I read interesting lines about the present situation, and I quote, "This is a bad science fiction movie that is real," unquote. So traditions are changing, new norms are emerging, and we are replacing them. For example, we don't step out without a mask, sanitizer, or gloves. On the brighter side, one of the wonderful things is that when there's a natural disaster, people connect and cooperate. The spirit of helping people in need becomes very pronounced. This is how we evolve in harsh conditions. Having said that, reality check and learning to cope in a healthy way will make us the people we care about and our community stronger. Personally speaking, I'd say that this pandemic has really humbled me. The call of duty care for my family, for the entire PF chapter community, for people living in Karachi, Pakistan, in fact, for the entire humanity is over embracing. And I have been thinking about it. Everyone is, reflecting, and it has really hit me hard that the entire humanity, regardless of caste, creed, gender, race, faith, is going through the same. This is literally the time when, the lines "एक ही सफ में खड़े हो गए महमूद और अयाज" comes true. So it is a humbling experience. We realize perhaps we were involved or investing a lot of energy or time in activities which were non-essentials. And it's time to take stock of our lives, what we want to do, how we want to do. We need to look at the present time, but at the same time, we need to focus on our future as well. Inshallah, when good times will come, when the pandemic will be out of our lives, how do we want our lives to continue? How do we want to modify? How do we want to bring in positive changes in our lives? And I'm positive our youth will emerge as autonomous, resilient, and responsible citizens for tomorrow. And do not forget to pray. Prayers are the most powerful weapon these days. And I pray for everyone's safety and better future.
Thank you all very much for your answers. Now, the one question everyone appears to ask is when exactly is the pandemic going to end? However, by now, it's quite clear that the pandemic will only end and the WHO will only declare it concluded when most of the countries have developed herd immunity. And that appears to be a long way to go. Therefore, we should now adopt to this dystopian or futuristic form of living and pray for the best.
I would like to thank our guests for being here with us today. As we move forward towards wrapping today's broadcast, we can safely conclude that even though it will take some time getting used to the technology and new teaching methods, and as some predict, online teaching will be a part of our lives even after this pandemic is over. For a changing world, this is the new competent way.
Thank you all so much for tuning in. Allah Hafiz and see you soon. And be sure to look out for our next live broadcast.
Thank you.
Thank you. Allah Hafiz, everyone.
Allah Hafiz, and thank you very much.
Thank you. It was
Thank
an honor.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.